Okay. How about now? It's a little bit loud. Whew. About to have a heart attack over here. All right, that should be good. Is it fine? More or less? Uh, Better, but not great. Very, very loud. Yeah, you might have to turn it down now. Okay, good. All right. Well, so much for YouTube. I reckon they banned me. Who needs them? Well, I kind of do. Oh well. Oh well. If it's not one thing, it's just a different. Whatever. Let's not be negative, Daniel. All right. So watch this. Watch this sucker here. Let's give her one more shot. Nope. Hmm. This thing is really not going to do it. All right, fine. So this is the new Ninja Manager. Much improved, and everything is totally finalized now. This is going to be it. This is it for 2020. This is the final update coming out, and it is incredibly thorough, more thorough than I think I've ever done before in my entire existence. Yeah, it's totally dialed in. The one thing that we'll add before the end of the year, it's not like we're stopping development by any means, but the one thing that we'll add is for the volume analyst. We're going to offload those calculations to a secondary window and free up some of the resources. So that's going to be it for 2020. And then in 2021, you'll just have to wait and see. We got a lot of stuff in mind and written down and ready to rock and roll. We just need to get the volume analyst sorted out, and hopefully that won't take too long. And then the 2021 version will be, well, you'll just have to wait and see, won't you? So we're going to run now, and you can see pretty much the same settings aside from we removed that close Ninja Manager, and you'll see why here in a moment. So this thing is working quite well. It has all the messaging here. And the one other thing that I wanted to show you was the authorization. That's incredibly thorough as far as, having the steps printed out on the actual authorization user interface, the pop-up window. So all the instructions, all the directions, everything to show you how to get everything licensed is all right there on the pop-up itself. So it was quite a bit confusing before, just the color of the fields and whatnot, and where you entered your email, and it didn't tell you very clearly that you had to go then search your email for the confirmation code. That's all completely straightforward and clear right now, and should be a piece of cake. The one caveat to this update is that you uninstall all previous installers. So we've totally separated out the DLLs from all of the other files. I'm going to close this so you can see it. In fact, let me just do this. Okay. So this is the message box now, and I've kind of dragged it a little bit to make it a bit larger. Well, I'll let it do its thing for a minute, and I'll show you how it works. This is the most efficient, best way that you can open Ninja now. It handles each and every chart one by one. And essentially for our system, it's key, it's pivotal. It's what 36 seconds for this computer, that's fast. For a lot of you guys, it'll be like 16, 17 seconds. But the reason it's essential, and see how Ninja Manager is telling you don't touch any of the windows, don't click on anything. When you have a workspace in NinjaTrader that has quite a number of windows, Ninja will take control of your mouse and kind of acts like it's selecting the chart as they're opening. And then when you try to click on a chart and move it, because our reader system is reading all of the signals from those charts, those various charts, it can just cause it to lock up and freeze. So you want to make sure that if you're experiencing some of those lockups, that's probably why. Opening up Ninja, connecting. Before all the charts have loaded, you start moving the charts around. That will totally lock everything up. So you want to make sure that you don't do that, and this message is just there to remind you of that. 33 seconds for the Crude Oil workspace. And now it's opening the higher time frames. Okay. No, it's not. We're not clearing the cache automatically. NinjaTrader doesn't appreciate us doing that. We'll have an option eventually to kind of parse through the data, to sort through it, and see if there's any missing volume, missing ticks, missing data, and then it will re-download those days that are missing. So in the final, will probably be a separate version actually. It's going to be some serious coding. We have some of that built into the volume analyst now actually, in the time frame tuner. Essentially, to do that, we'll have to merge the time frame tuner with the Ninja Manager. And I think that's going to be necessary to do the automation of copying the workspaces and then changing the values, updating the values of the tick charts and the row bars. So I think that's going to be some sort of all-in-one new, complete Ninja Manager that will start it up. It'll shut it down. It'll check the missing data. If there's any data missing for any session, as Ninja downloads in sessions, then it'll check it and download it if it's needed, and then reload. Yeah, that option, Jordy, use an empty workspace, is if you want to start up with a blank workspace and then connect to the data feed first, and then open the workspaces one by one. So if you don't want to do that, if you want it to just, let's say that if I shut Ninja down right now, it would save within that underscore workspaces file all three of those workspaces, right? It would save those in here. Whoop. See, it's got the list of them here. Open these workspaces. That's all this file is. It's basically the contents of those, but that's all this file does. It controls which workspaces were open last. You know all this, but not everybody else does, I guess. So rather than using this one to open Ninja, you can use the empty workspace, which is this one, so that it will open up without a chart. It won't have any interference when it's connecting to the data feed. One of the problems with Ninja 7 was the data was getting corrupted as we were connecting to the data feed, and all of the workspace charts were loading at the same time. Then it was easier for the data to get corrupted. Ninja 8 doesn't seem to have that same issue as far as I can tell, not with Kinetic anyhow, or IQ feed. With CQG, I'm not sure. It may still have that issue, but I haven't thoroughly tested CQG, so I don't know for sure. But yeah, that's what this is for. So if you wanted to just open up, like for me, if I closed right now, I would have these three saved in that file. So I could just uncheck that and then check don't change. I could still decide which one I wanted to end up on, or just show all windows, rather. And then it would simply open it up, open all three of those workspaces at the same time, connect to the data feeds, and then wait for them to load, and then show you the finished message. So this is kind of a way of bypassing the one-by-one loading of the workspaces, but that's not really recommended for our reader system. So because we have these readers in the Bloodhound templates, you really want them to load chart by chart by chart, workspace by workspace. And then at the end of each loading of the workspace, that reader manager will update and recalculate this guy here. Okay, so basically you want to leave it set like this. And you probably want to increase this wait for a chart time, because if you have, if you're deleting your cache yourself, let me just go over that briefly. So if you actually go in and delete all of your data for all the charts, so that when you open up Ninja and you connect and you open up a workspace, it will re-download all that data fresh. Then it's obviously, it's going to take a lot longer to load each workspace, especially for that tick 2 chart. And you'll want to increase this to probably 75 seconds or so, maybe. That tick 2 chart is the one that takes the longest to load. that in the weekly chart. Okay, so now it says it's fully loaded. And if you have all of the DLLs, if you have the master suite and the time frame tuner, all that, this is the only image it's going to show for now. And then if you just have a couple DLLs, it'll just cycle through some images for the other DLLs of ours. Then you can click on it and it'll take you to that web page. Sorry, I just started getting a migraine here, trying to get all this stuff done. So now, very obviously, click here to close Ninja Manager, and you're done and ready to go. And that's it. And now you can go back and cycle through the workspaces. You could show them all if you wanted to, all at the same time. And you can do that from the window manager as well. Click here to show all windows. I'm not going to do that right now, but one thing that's kind of doesn't necessarily reflect very well on me, but so Friday, we were still testing some things, trying to get a couple of things with the export import system for Analysis Live all sorted out. And the one that I was using, the one that I was testing, wasn't actually uploading all of my objects to the server, and it wasn't uploading my screenshots to the forum. So unfortunately, the beautiful setup on ES, you guys didn't get to see in real time. But I've got it all recorded. One of the things that's kind of slowed me down in getting all this stuff working flawlessly is finding a solution to getting videos uploaded very quickly. And Bo's done a really jam up job of getting all this stuff, sent out, videos recorded, posted. We haven't done too great a job of keeping in contact with you guys, and that's my fault. But I've really just been trying to get this as dialed in and perfected as I possibly can, so that we can finally wrap this thing up and say that we've got a completed version for 2020, and we finally arrived. It's just, I've been wanting to say that for about 3 years. It's just development is development, and what are you going to do? I can tell you it's, coming tomorrow, but tomorrow has its own issues. Those issues are finally sorted out. Praise the Lord, but it's been a rough road, man. So Scott is asking here, why not, why no, whatever, what's he trying to say? Basically, why did no one call this as a 5-wave move down? Well, you didn't get to see my analysis because it wasn't posting to the forum. So if you look in your import manager, I had to have Akosh actually take my exports and put them on the forum. And I'm going to get the video of that. Let me just see if I can show it briefly. Yeah, this is it. All right, so this is all in real time.
138
Oh,
or 240 minute, maybe even the daily, you could say. No, not the daily.
there I am talking to myself.
Bars in the daily.
Definitely have some editing to do, but what I'm going through here is I'm kind of working out what's going on. So I've been of the opinion that this is not the final high, but rather the end of wave 3 of 5. So all of these guys at all these different Elliott wave analysts are calling a high. That's the high. Well, frankly, that doesn't look like a high. That would be pretty awkward, in fact, if it were the high. The only thing that makes me, the only thing that's a bit suspect is the fact that you have such a huge amount of volume to the downside. I think this is a trap, and we've got one more wave back up. So the whole entire time, I'm thinking that's a 261.8 for the end of wave 3. I'm going to show you what I mean. This is me kind of working it out. No, not right. And there we go. Now we're getting it. So here, which one is which? There we go. This is where I'm finally starting to get it, I think. So this is what I think is going on. And meaning that we're completing wave 3 at that high, the current high, of the third wave of wave 3 up, and what is going to end up being a massive fifth wave. You can see that Nasdaq is obviously through the roof. Yeah, we've hit some really awesome, beautiful resistance here, which I'll show you in a minute, on YM, Nasdaq, the ES, everything. But I'm of the opinion that we're going to blow right through all of it and keep heading up. There is so much money out there that to try and call a top, I think, is a fool's errand. And yet, that's the main reason why people don't trust Elliott Wave, is because so many Ellioticians, if you will, are always looking for tops and bottoms. They're always trying to, make that perfect call, when that's not, in my opinion, how it's best utilized. It's best utilized trying to find these corrected patterns. And that's what I do. That's all I do all day long. That's what I'm looking for. The ends of these corrections. So you can apply Elliott Wave and look for major highs on a weekly chart, and you can be wrong time after time after time after time, or you can look for corrections and actually use market geometry to confirm with the volume and end up with a track record like Bose or mine. So this is me calling it as it's happening, and we ended up, and I'll upload this after we get done here, but what I'm saying in here, let me see if I can, well, I'm talking about it's probably not going to go down and make another low. This is a double 3, in my opinion. Okay, it's either a double 3 or a zigzag. So this is not a tiny little 1, 2, and then a massive wave 3 that's over 500% larger than wave 1. That's just not, doesn't make any sense. Okay, and then we've got an A up, a little B triangle, C up to complete this retracement, B wave or X wave, and then we've got another A, B, C down. So Yeah, it's not 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. If anything, it's a 1, 2, 1, 2. And then at some point in here, I start going into this chart. Let me just, I'll upload this when we're done. Let me stop with all the whatever. So let me show you this real quick. Where is my 1 minute chart? I'm trying to do everything from one screen here. It just makes it way easier. Yeah, so this is the actual low that we put in, and it lined up so beautifully on every single chart that I had. It was just impeccable, really. So I had the low. I didn't take it because I'm fumbling around trying to film that video. So I didn't take it there. Although this is where it counts so beautifully on this 1 minute chart. So let's just assume that it's a zigzag, right? Let's assume that this is 5 down. Well, it would be 5 down to here, and then an expanded flat for the B wave retracement, and then another 5 down. So that is just a perfect throw over of that down sloping channel, isn't it? It's quite gorgeous, actually. I mean, you can't really ask for much clearer than that. So we throw that over, and then when it turns up and I'm looking for a retracement back down, I'm not talking about looking for a new low, because we've already made what appears to be you gonna do me like that? Sorry, I'm just getting a little bit peeved here. I've had about enough of this gaming keyboard. I've dropped her one too many times. Oh, now you're going to transfer my profiles. Okay. All right. Profile now activated. Well, anyway. Oh, that's why. Sorry. Sorry. I'm just testing this thing out. There's some kind of little minor glitch in this fib tool. Just has to do with the size of the drawing dot. I don't need to go into all that right now, but all right. So we've got 1 down. This is why I think it's a double 3. So why would I think that? Well, let's go over it, shall we? Got so many hotkeys. I'm fumbling. All right, so this is the low on the row 2 chart. That is quite beautiful. Look at that. That's picture perfect there for a big swing trade. This is one that will not show up on the row 2 because it's a setup on the 138-minute chart, and I don't have that Bloodhound template on the 138-minute chart, so I can add it there. I mean, most of you guys have expressed a lack of interest in swing trading, and want to focus solely on day trading. So I've kind of accommodated that, and yet tried to at the same time accommodate those of you that do want to swing trade, and adding in all those higher time frames, which seems to confuse more than it does facilitate. So I've made it now to where you can delete the daily, the weekly, and the 138 minute, and just leave, from the hourly down, and that will at least eliminate 3 charts for you. The first part of 2021, though, we're going to have these charts kind of virtual, the ones that we need, the extra ones that we need for the volume. All right, so anyhow, that's that really good looking volume signal on the road 2, but here, just counting it down on the actual RTH chart, the regular trading hours chart, and this is the tick index down here. So I don't send this one out with a 10 tick index on it because not all of you actually have data for it, but there is a template, and in the video I'm going to make about the installation before I send this out, now that I actually have a virtual machine working on this computer, I can do that. I'll show you how to apply it. You simply just apply the chart template, RTH1, which I should save for that video, but I'm already doing it, so I'm going to finish it. And you apply this one right here, RTH1 tick, VHES, and then I've got to save the one for Nasdaq and YM, and that's the final couple of chart templates I have to save. So this is the one you'll apply if you want to get this chart looking just like this. Okay? But that's only if you have that tick index data. All right, so because the ES is a derivative of the S&P 500 stock index, you always want to favor the count on the actual underlying instrument, right? So anytime the count on the ETH chart is at odds with the count on the RTH chart, that's when you want to favor the RTH chart. So again, another reason why I think it's a double 3 down and not 5 down. I'm not going to try to go over all this first one. It's not really necessary, but from here down, let's look at that. So I've got a very clear 100% right there, right? It's kind of interesting. Okay. So maybe that's our little ABC. All right, just thinking about it. Now, what about from here down? It's just shy of that 61.8. Okay. So that could be possibly another little A, B, C. All right. What about the possibility of this being a 5-way move down? Well, if this is 1 and not A, then where is the end of wave 3? You'd have to say the end of wave 3 is the end of that A wave, which means that this is the 5th wave down, which does lend credibility to that 5-wave count. Okay, that's the one thing that kind of left me wondering, well, it's still an ABC in my opinion, but is it a double 3 or just a normal zigzag? So I went ahead and went with double 3, and said the low is in at this point. And once it had turned up, then I began looking for a higher low. And then I ended up finding that higher low and not taking it because I'm trying to explain what all is going on in here. And there's that higher low right there. So I'm waiting for a retracement down to the 78.6, at least the 61.8. But the way this kind of traced out, I'm also waiting for the bottom of that channel at least, right? And then we'll look at that on the tick chart as well, but at least the bottom of that little downsloping channel. So at the very minimum, like I'm not trying to take it here because a lot of people are expecting a new low. Okay. A lot of people are looking at this and saying that's one. Let me just do it like so. They're saying that's 1, 2, 3, 4. And they're looking for wave 5 down to a new low. And they're not going to give that to you. They're not going to give you what you're looking for. Especially when it's moving this fast and such incredibly high volatility and volume, straight smack into the perfect downsloping area on just pretty much all of these faster charts. Well, I mean, it's the same as it is on all of them, but same area. But let me just show you what I mean. All right, that's the 15-minute RTH. This one was just unbelievable to me, but so I'm calling this wave 1 up. This is just getting out of control with my I got so many panels and buttons, I don't know what to do with myself. All right, let's hide some of this. All right. There we go. All right. So you can call it whatever you want. The guys at Elliott Wave are going to say that, no, that's a running flat or a running double three or whatever. And they're going to look at that and say, no, that's a big A, whatever, B, C, right? I'm not buying all that at all because that's a pretty clean and clear 5 up to me here at this B wave high. It's a little bit difficult to make out when it's so zoomed out, but once I zoom in a little bit, you'll see what I mean. So we've got a nice 1, 2, and then we've got a 3. Now this is where it gets a little bit tricky though, granted, because this little wick comes back inside of that, filling the gap there perfectly. And then we have an A, B, C, D, E for a really nice triangle, wave 4. And then, boop, there's your 5. That's a perfect 5-wave move. Yeah, wave 1 is pretty big, and it's bigger than wave 3, but wave 5 is smaller, and we don't have a close on the 15-minute inside of wave 1. So that, my friends, is a wave 1, and that's a 2. And I will either be right or I'll be wrong, and it doesn't really bother me whichever one it is because I'm wrong 60% of the time. Well, I get the analysis right more than 60% of the time, but analysis and trading, well, those are two totally different things. As far as trading is concerned, I average between 37 and 43% total percent profitable trades, with a win-loss ratio of 2.85, which is almost impossible to achieve, but yet, whatever, here I am. So, whatever. Pat myself one more time. So, why did I not connect to this high then? Well, I asked myself that same question. These are pretty much identical highs, and almost always will I use the one in the middle when I've got three highs that are all the same. And this time, I don't know, I didn't. And I think it'll become clear on that 138-minute chart. But what I'm looking at within this whole move up is a pretty big third wave. Let me use this guy. That's busted through at 261.8. This is what makes me question it a little bit, but when you see it on the ETH chart, you'll kind of understand why I'm thinking what I am. But you're not seeing the full size of this wave as it is on the ETH chart. But nonetheless, what I wanted to see after turning down from this high, which once again, I'll show you on the weekly and the daily, it's just a beautiful high. I can understand why everybody would want to call it the fifth of the fifth, and it's the highest high, and blah, 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 blah. We're going to go straight down and COVID, Novid, whatever. It's, end of the world, yada, yada, yada. But from this retracement here, look at the profile, not to mention the channel. And on the channel, I'm using that high of the gap down, which is awkward and it's weird. Yeah, I get it. I know. It almost looks like I'm cherry picking it, but I'm doing all that in real time because it is such a straight shot move into that high, and it threw over a couple of areas that I was watching in particular. But the strength of that final push is very unlike the typical high that we get in the equities indices of this magnitude. So they're calling this the fifth of the fifth of the fifth of the fifth, meaning that dudes at Elliott Wave around the world are thinking that from this point onward, we are going to be headed down below 600. All right? Just think about that for a second. They might be right. I don't know. I'm not willing to make that call because I think it sounds retarded, to be honest with you. We just printed how much? How many trillions? It's unfathomable numbers. It doesn't even make any sense. So there's a lot of money out there waiting to go somewhere. Where's it going to go? The same place it's always gone, always. Markets around the world. I mean, maybe they're trying to crumble the US market in favor of some other markets. I don't know, but that money's going somewhere. And it's not going to go down to 600, in my opinion. But look at the VWAP from that midpoint here. So that's the biggest retracement down after breaking up through these highs. Okay, it also went sideways there for a while. I'm not going to work out all the details of this because I want to move on to some other markets, especially Nasdaq and gold. But I mean, it's just so perfect a low that it really chaps my hide that they didn't actually get to go through in real time. But what can I say? We've got some technology here that is unparalleled. It's, never been done before. I thought we were ready. We needed to be ready. And I launched it a bit too soon. Been wanting to launch it for the past 2 years, but Ninja 8, being the stubborn beast that it is, uh, kind of put up some roadblocks. But anyhow, I'm proud to say, I'm proud of my team to say that we finally crossed those hurdles and are now at the other side of it. So there won't be any of these missed exports or whatever. I'm working with Vimeo, the other YouTube, the one that can actually protect videos and whatnot, to from this point forward, we'll be using Vimeo to stream to YouTube and Facebook and wherever else every Sunday. And then they're going to make me that recorder that I've been wanting to find or build, which nobody can seem to do but Vimeo, that will be able to track my cursor around my different screens without me having to shift from chart to chart to chart all on the same screen. So they're going to build it for me. And they're going to charge me, but I think it's worth the cost for you guys for sure, so that you're getting all of this in real time. So the minute I click on that record button, I'm talking, it's recording, it's tracking my cursor. I click finish, it renders it, uploads it to Vimeo, and pastes it into the form automatically. Doesn't that sound like a dream come true? All easily doable with Vimeo's new service. Granted, it's in beta, but they say it's ready for prime time. So it's pretty cool. All this stuff is all coming out right as I'm launching this. I thought we were going to have to build it ourselves after testing these other tools that just would not do the job. Thankfully, Vimeo was one step ahead of me. So again, on the RTH chart, perfect low, even on the VWAP, but this is the most important point here. So out of this high, we have this sideways pattern here, right? Okay, I'm of the opinion that it's at least on this chart, it's an expanded flat. So from this high down, I'm looking at an A, a B, and a C. So that low there, excuse me, pardon me, that low there is a fourth wave low in my estimation. And where does the fourth wave of one larger degree, where does it usually end up? And oftentimes tick out the previous fourth wave of one lesser degree, right? So if that's the fourth of the third, then what does that mean for all of this back here? Any takers? I know this is all like rocket science stuff when you have no idea what I'm talking about, but let me just do it like so. And this is probably the wrong nomenclature, but whatever. So what if that's a little 1, 2, and that is a 3. Sorry, this is a 3. That's our 4, and that's our 5. How does that look? I'm just guessing here because I didn't actually do it on the RTH chart. I did it on the ETH chart. It's pretty close. All right, let's just do a couple little tests here. This is how I kind of solidify where we are within the trend here. So it looks to me like this is probably the end of wave one right there of this third wave up. Why do I think that? Why might I think that? I'm sorry, I did do this in real time, as a matter of fact, in that video, and this is half the reason I chose the gap low. So just look at this for a moment. I know this is kind of a bit advanced, and a lot of people look at Elliott wave and laugh, and then I laugh right back at you. But that's a 1, 2, and then what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in here. 4, 5. Then we have what? An ABC down here into the previous fourth wave. So every fourth wave, the most common retracement of that fourth wave will be to come back near the previous fourth wave of one lesser degree. Okay. So that kind of makes me think, well, maybe that is a fourth wave there, and then that's wave 5. But I don't want to confuse you any more than I already have. What we have down here is now an ABC for an A wave. And again, another, it's a flat, but in this case, it's a running flat. There's our B back up. And this is an Indian diagonal of a C wave, it looks like, maybe. Or it's just a simple ABC. It could be like a running double 3. Let's just see if there's any relationship whatsoever. Don't start yawning now. You'll pass out. Oh, what do you know? It's a 138.2. What is the most common extension of the A wave in a flat? How many times have you heard me say that in the trading room before I get into a trade? It's at 138.2, right? So pretty nice, but I'm getting kind of fixated on this one situation here, and it's a bit funny. So whatever, I don't need to go any deeper than that. So let's just say that, okay, we've got a 1, we've got our 2 for wave 3. So that's, let me just get rid of these little ones because they are kind of bigger. It's a little bit odd. Mm-mm. I don't know what I would do without this toolbar. I'd be so frustrated all day. All right. And then we've got what? Wave 3 is exactly 161.8 of wave 1 from the end of wave 2. So then we've got to get 5 waves up out of this mess in here. How in the world are you going to even attempt to do that? Well, that's a very good question. It's not that easy. I would have to say this has got to be your 1, 2, and then 3, or let's say 1, 2, 3, 4. This is for sure a triangle 4. Yep. A, B, C, D, E. Not really. Let's just do it anyway. Let's just say 1, 2. That's got to be your 3, 4, 5. Let's just see if 5 is not 61/8 of 1. It's not 61/8, but it's 50. Right? It's not terrible. On the ETH chart, it all lines up beautifully, perfectly. But this is the only area where it gets a little bit concerning as to what to do with all this mess in here. But once you get beyond that, then you've got a pretty clear picture of 1, 2, and there's 5 equal to 138.2 of wave 1. Let's see. That's why you have to have an alternate count always. And in fact, the dudes at Elliott Wave International right now, I believe, are giving away. It's about a 7-day training course right now. I think you can go there. I mean, not to pull you right away from me, so you go there and peace out. But Elliott Wave International. So for those of you that are struggling with Elliott Wave, it's just elliottwave.com. Risk-free, join FFS subscribers now. Seven days of actionable lessons. So if you're having a hard time with it, even if you don't believe in it and it just sounds ridiculous to you, that there's something to this wave counting nonsense, just have a look at it. Just do yourself a favor. Be just ever so slightly open-minded, not so open that you let everything in. I remember talking to an old rabbi one time, and he told me, he goes, "You Americans with your open minds," he says, "you need to close it because you're letting in a bunch of garbage. It's not so good to have a so open mind and let everything in," which I thought was actually a pretty wise statement. Of course, I was in France, and French people just don't really like Americans anyway, so it's more of an insult than a favor or a piece of advice. But I took it as advice, and I thought he was pretty accurate in saying that. So don't leave it open, huh? Close it up after you've opened it, but just check it out. It'll be good for you. Because there's nothing else that provides me with the roadmap necessary for me to make sense of what the markets are doing. It takes a lot of effort, and it takes a lot of mind-numbing day after day marking up of the charts, saving them, going over them over the weekend. You're going to be seeing a lot more of this from me. Bo has been doing a lot of the exports over the past couple of weeks, has our development team and myself, we've been trying desperately to get everything working perfectly, which again, we've done. It's done. And you're going to have it tonight. Absolutely. I've said that 100 times, but um, I just cannot let it go until it's actually perfect for some reason. That even though it's never been perfect, this is the one time I can say it's all working very, very well. So I think that's enough said, huh? So yeah, you'll have all this. Bo's been kind of keeping us afloat here, maintaining. Um, I mean, he's got so many awesome setups in here that it's pretty incredible. Actually, I'm a little bit surprised, although I shouldn't be, that he's managed to do as well as he has because he's actually quite good, which is why he's with us. But yeah, he's been a little bit on his own, and I've kind of dissuaded him from using wave counts because we've got to be on the same page, and I just want to make sure that he's got the depth of understanding that is necessary to have that alternate count, to post it when necessary, to show it when necessary, and to be able to explain the difference and why one is favored over the other. So this is me showing you Thursday, I believe, the initial push down, which was huge volume, and where the A wave would likely end up, which it did. And then it turned up, and then we wanted a B wave down, and I wanted that B wave down to come inside of this sideways move here and then tick out one of these lows, which we finally ended up getting Friday, which broke that little low right there, and it was perfect. So we turned up from here into the B wave. Bo set up all that short, and then I set up the long that nobody saw, and I was showing it here, or if it goes really deep, possibly all the way down to here, while still maintaining the fourth wave degree. So real quick, for any of you guys that are having yeah, I know, Ari, I know, but that's why I was talking to him, and that's why he told me to close my mind. uh, he's a, I don't know, I just came up on him on the street, and we started chatting in French, mind you, and I didn't do a very good job, but yeah, he finally just started speaking English, thank goodness. Yeah, sorry, I'm getting so sidetracked here as I usually do, but hey, if you're having trouble with the forum now, there's really no need for you to be having trouble with it because we've got all of the problems sorted out. I'm going to make a video showing you how to clear your cache and all of the saved old stuff that's left over legacy from before the fix. And unfortunately, it's a bit of a, it's not too bad. You just have to know how to get into your settings, but I'm going to walk you through it, the steps you need to take. And then it should be that at most you need to log in once every morning. I'm thinking we'll be able to separate the forum totally out away from the portal, and then you'll only have to log in once every tag change, let's say, if your subscription expires or whatnot, or you update it, or once every 7 days. So that's going to be pretty nice. You won't have to worry about logging in all the time. But if you're having trouble, the most trouble you should be having now is that you have to log in once per day. So again, if you are having trouble, just raise your hand, let me know, and we'll get you sorted out. I'm gonna record a video and show you how to do it, and then if necessary, at some point, guys, we're gonna have to start charging for this like computer work that we've been having to do on people's really old machines, because it's, you know, it's taken up a lot of our time. And the fact is, you know, we've got some updated kind of higher tech stuff here that is going to require you at some point to update your machine. And if you're working with an older machine, it may be time to get a new one, because all of this having to mess around with window settings and whatnot, it's just asking for trouble. Because eventually we're going to do it for the wrong person, and they're going to say that we destroyed their machine, and then we'll have to pay for it, or, you know, something crazy. So yeah, should be no more issues with the forum. All right, let's move on, because I'm getting long-winded. There's a 138 minute. Let's do this one. All right, so really, really nice area on the weekly, no doubt. And it's almost too good to be true, which is why I think it is too good to be true. So this is what gave us the previous high, was this channel here. And at the time of that high, I was talking about an expanding triangle, and that we should be turning down into another ABC down that should break this low. And then it did that, and it started doing that before COVID, right? And then the announcement about COVID was right there on that gap down. And then everybody said it's, you know, down move because of COVID, which in fact it was, but it was timed eerily perfectly. All very strange. But nonetheless, now what do we have? It's broken through that. What if I use the lowest closing price on the weekly? It's kind of interesting, right? So it's throwing that over into the trend line from high to high that it's hit pretty much perfectly. And now, let me see if I've just got that right. That's 29.47. 29.44. So yeah, that's the high there. All right. I can understand why they would think that's the end of it, because it is such a beautiful area, and it does make pretty good sense. When I do what I want us all to do at some point, I hate requiring that people pay for something they can't afford, which would preclude them or exclude them from our service. But do you know how much easier this would be if we all had Kinetic or IQ feed, and we could all use continuous contracts down to, say, the 30-minute chart. So from the 30-minute chart up, we would just have continuous contracts. Oh my goodness, that would make our lives all so much easier, especially with crude. We'd all have the same exact data. That's another thing. If my objects are not coming through, or Bo's objects are not coming through to your charts in such a way that they're actually connected to the swing highs and lows, that means that your data is not matching up with our data, and that is problem number one. Okay, so that's all of this that I'm talking about now is going to be in the video that I'm going to record once I get done here and get this update up and out. It's going to be a part 2 of setting everything up for Analysis Live. The part 1 is going to be a totally separate, just getting everything installed, uninstalling the previous. If if you're starting with an earlier version, just how to properly get that all uninstalled. It's simply a matter of, uninstalling the program. Quite easy, but I'll guide you through it. And I want to guide you through it in such a way that you'll be able to do this on your own, because we are overrun right now, rightly so, because, yeah, I've failed to meet some deadlines, and I'm terribly sorry. I wanted this to all be perfect, and it's just taken a while. It's just taken a while. Heck of a lot longer than I expected, but I think you'll be happy that I waited rather than sending it out before it was actually done and ready, because then you'd be really peeved at me. So better to have you slightly peeved, or maybe you're all super peeved. I don't know. Maybe a couple of you are. But you're going to be happy. Yeah, it's not looking too different here on this one. But you see what the continuous contract affords us, right? It gives us a little bit further back. So S&P is quite a bit different than the Dow, but we'll look at the Dow and the Nasdaq. See, this is, I know it sounds crazy. That's is kind of what I'm thinking. Somewhere up in there. But Daniel, that's a long way away. Well, so is 600. I'd say 600 is a lot further away. Meh. Anyway, let's look at Nasdaq, because that thing is just unbelievable. I know I'm all over the place here, but when am I not, right? This is what I'm thinking. So this is what you'll see in the video that I recorded in real time. And just after realizing that none of the objects were actually going to the server, I had a bit of a bad day on Friday, I'd say. And that was after basically 3 nights of little to no sleep. So I'm thinking this is all wave 1 up. And that's our little 2. Guys at LA Wave would say that's our 1, 2. And that's a 3, 4. And that's a 1, 2. I don't know what they're even calling it. To me, it doesn't make any sense. I think we're going straight on up. And wave 3 of 5 will finish right about there. And then we'll have our fourth wave. Sorry. That'll be wave 5-ish, right around in here. And then wave 4, come back inside of wave 3. Right? Come down near the fourth wave of 1 lesser degree. And then the big 5 wave up near or through somewhere right around that 161.8 above 4,000. Okay, and then another retracement, something similar to what we've seen back here. Not something similar to this, just to put it into perspective here, but more along the lines of something like this or this. Because this was shallow and kind of sideways, I'm thinking this fourth wave here will be sharp, and it'll look like probably 2 or 3 times larger than this one. And that's when people will really think the top is in. And then we'll have one more wave up. That'll take us to about 4,400 or so, maybe beyond. And then we'll be somewhere in the vicinity of this guy right there. It's crazy, isn't it? Things just won't be the same until we have a vaccine. I'm afraid that we just won't be able to go back to normal. What a douche. Yeah, this is why they think it's the 5th wave highs in now. So they're finally back to saying that this was an expanding triangle, which of course it has always been, in which they did call it for a long time. But yeah, I can see why. Right? Because if that's the 3rd wave high, and that's our wave 1, 2, 3, expanding triangle 4, you've got your 5th wave equal to 61.8 of 1 through 3. So that's a really good spot for the 5th wave. But in this whole entire move up, and I don't know how many times I've said this within the trading room or training sessions, we've got so many instances of equality, just waves equaling exactly the preceding waves. It's almost a bit strange, really. So where is one of those instances? I want to say it's not here. Well, I guess that was pretty much it when we were looking for what we kind of thought might be the 5th wave high here, or the D wave of an expanding triangle, because this is the rarest of rare patterns. This expanding triangle here, it's actually like so. And like so. So we were contemplating whether that was the end of the 5th wave at that high, because it had gone, straight to that beautiful, beautiful top of that channel quite perfectly. But alas, it was not. It was the end of D wave. And why did we know that it was a D wave? Well, because you had a perfect ABC up with another running triangle. And all of this that I'm saying, I know is going over so many people's heads right now, and uh, it would behoove me to explain it in detail if I'm even going to mention it, but we just don't have the time to do that, and I'm not going to rehash something that is so vividly and wonderfully taught for free by the dudes at ElliottWave.com. So just go there, watch their free stuff, do that 7-day trial. It's not a trial, it's just a free course, I guess. And just watch some of the way that they incorporate Elliott into a trading system. And there's many ways to do that. A lot of people seem to get hung up on, oh my gosh, he was wrong. And then they move on to something else like Renko bars and moving averages, which create just magnificent garbage systems. Uh, yeah, let me not be negative again. All right. I'm sorry I do that. I've built so many systems for people, and then the back test comes through, and it's what do we call it? When you hear something that totally contradicts everything that you've known to be true and believe, and you're totally frozen in disbelief. What do we call that? There's a phrase for it. I can't think of it because I tried to think of it. Help me. No one's there. No one's listening. Is there anybody in? Yeah, paralysis, but it's like a cognitive dissonance. Thank you. There you go. Cognitive dissonance. So, building trading systems for so many people. Oh, man. I don't know. I looked at how many it actually was. It was a little over 800, actually, but well over 1,200 systems. And variations of the same themes always. It's like 20 different systems that people were trying to come up with their own rules to program within Bloodhound, which they'd hire me for 2 or 3 hours and I'd do it. And then we'd back test it. And then just straight cognitive dissonance. They would refuse to believe it. And I'm sorry, I know that some of you are in here listening now, but you've gotten past it. Congratulations, you moved on. You've thrown out the garbage. But yeah, we would do that back test, and I would invariably, every single time, I would hear, no, that can't be right because I know it works. I see it every day. And I'm like, I know, man. I know. I see it too, buddy. I see it too. I wish it were untrue, but, I'm sorry. And then well, thanks anyway. Bye, whatever. I'm like, well, don't shoot the messenger here. I'm just trying to help. We programmed out all your rules exactly the way that you wanted them so that you could execute without having to think about it, and you could have a machine do it for you because the rules that you had worked. It's just you that didn't work. So we've got everything exactly the way that you want it so that it will execute it flawlessly the way that you want it. And this is the back test that those rules produced. Yeah, you had 6 months in a row where you made a huge amount of money, and then you lost all of that times three over the following 6 months. It's the problem with a lot of this stuff. You can make money with it for a while, just like you can make money in the casino for a little while, but in the end, the house always wins, right? Otherwise, they wouldn't be a house. Oh man, I'm getting dark. Sorry. So, all of that to say that if you're thinking that this is perhaps a bit weird, counting waves and drawing lines and how could it possibly work, I've done every single thing imaginable for people. I built that, well, not thousands, hundreds of systems, tested them out, back tested them. Thank goodness we couldn't curve fit. We couldn't do all the optimization. Not to say that you can't do it. I know a lot of people that have built automated systems. Well, I don't know a lot of people, but I know like three. And, they've got a basket of different systems they put on at different times for different instruments. They'll trade their own portfolio, they'll trade their own growth curve. Um, it's a heck of a process they go through to make it work, and they're always tweaking it. So to think that you're going to buy one of those from someone for a couple of grand and it's just going to work and make money, that not the wisest decision or belief. But moreover, they wouldn't sell it to you if it worked, would they? If I had a fully automated system that I knew made money for sure, would I be selling it to you? Probably not. But because what I'm trying to do is to teach you to become a better trader so that you can then go off and potentially come up with an automated system. You're not going to do that in reverse. You're not going to come up with an automated system and then be a good trader. You're going to have to first become a good trader, understand risk, uh, every aspect of risk, and I mean statistics, and it's going to be difficult. And that's going to be part one of our extensive course that we're going to be putting out. Um, it's all about risk management, and if you don't understand all that entails and what goes into it, it's much more than just win loss ratio and percentage winning trades and uh, risk of ruin and what percentage winning trades do I need to have when my stop loss is 1.2 times larger than my profit target. Well, it's going to be over 79% that you'll have to win just to break even. All those little things, all those little calculations, percentage break even, percentage winning trades to break even analysis, all those little things like that. And there's a lot of them. How do you maximize your reward versus your risk? How many losing trades in a row can you stomach? Not just can you pull off and then manage to grow your account back, but how many losing trades in a row can you actually stomach before you call it quits on whatever it was that you were doing, and then you move on to something new? That's usually a pretty low number for most people. There's one guy in the trading room just before I got in there on Thursday. We had 2 days open last week. And his comment to Bo was, this is just talking. You're just talking. There's no trading going on here. I'm out of here. And I thought Bo's response was pretty pretty good. He's like, well, yeah, sorry, we're not just shooting from the hip here and just, taking trades for fun or to appease people. We're actually methodically looking for the exact areas where we want to do business, where it's likely to put in a reversal and then get into the trade with as low risk as possible while maximizing that reward potential and then holding to the target. So no, if you're looking for a trading room where they just take 20, 30 trades a day, you've come to the wrong spot for sure. So peace out. That's that low that was broken. So this is another reason why I think that's a triangle here, actually, at this low. Let me go over that briefly, and then we'll move on to another market. So I'm ranting a little bit today, but I'm in a kind of a strange mood, I guess. I'm overworked, underpaid, and a little bit at my wit's end, maybe, but trying to be positive. So this is a kind of a clear ABC up from this low to me. And one thing that you can do if you're expecting or thinking that maybe this is a triangle in here, maybe it's a running triangle because we took out this high. So, and we do have a lot of overlap in here. One of the things you can do is just look at the A wave down in relation to the D wave down. The C wave down, C wave down. So if it's a running triangle, chances are the C wave down will be fairly close to equal to the A wave down. And if that's the case here, then that kind of solidifies it for me, usually. That ain't the one. And then there's one other thing that I'll show you. Okay, so it's not equal, but it's 78.6. That's the area that's the area that we're looking for between the 78.6 and the 100 for the C wave of a running triangle. All right. In a normal symmetrical triangle, what are the main two ratios within the waves? 78.6 and 61.8. And then the E wave can be whatever. A lot of times it's 50% of the D wave. So what I'm saying is, I'm thinking that's A down, that's B up, that's C down, D back up, and that's E. Oftentimes the C wave in a running triangle will be equal to, but usually not too much beyond that 100% of wave A down. You typically want to see it at least 78.6. All right, now then, the B wave back up, you really don't want to see it go too much beyond the 61.8. So when I do an expansion here, the sweet spot really is that 138.2. If it goes beyond that, then it's suspect. And I start looking for another option. But in this case, it's that 272, which is quite lovely. It doesn't have to be anything precise. It just, you really don't want to see it go beyond that 61.8. It can. It's just when it does, it becomes less likely that it is a running triangle. Okay. You can have a running triangle where the B wave does go quite a bit beyond it, but in this case, you went further in time than you did in price. And that's really what the geometry and the wave principle and all of this combined is really all about. It's combining time and price. So what you make up for with time, you'll lack in price, and what you lack in time, you'll make up for in price, if that makes sense. Which is why a lot of these very sharp, fast move corrections will go very far within a very short period of time, because they're making up for in price distance what they're lacking in time width, if you will. Does that make sense? It's all about the combination of time and price. It's what all this is all about. Time and price, time and price. So, B wave up? I think so. I think it is. I think this is a zigzag with an ending diagonal of a C wave. So I'm thinking that that is our 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of A, ABC down for B, and then ABC up for 1, ABC down for 2, ABC up for 3, ABC down for 4, tiny little ABC up for 5 for that ending diagonal. Like so. Okay, and then that straight shot zigzag down for the C wave. ABC back up for D. ABC back down for the E wave. So let's just see if any of these have any relationships whatsoever. And it's between the 61.8 and 78.6. It's really all that matters for that. Let's just check the B and the D. A lot of times this will be like 50% in a running triangle. Here it's exactly 61.8. It's perfect. Not exactly, but you see. Fibs are areas. They just give you a relationship from one preceding wave to the next so that you know that your wave count is either more likely correct, or let's say it's more probable than improbable. It's all we're doing with these fibs is trying to figure out the likelihood of one count over another. And this stuff doesn't really sink in. It doesn't click until after you've used it, you've applied it yourself, and then you've compared your own analysis against someone else's that knows what they're doing, which is why I only recommend those guys at Elliott Wave International. You can go elsewhere and you can find some pretty good analysts, but yeah, they just, a lot of times you'll see some stuff that doesn't, it's not Elliott Wave, it's something other than Elliott Wave, because they're essentially bending the rules. It may work here and there, but you're not going to get the level of quality that you get from the guys at Elliott Wave International. So this is really what sealed the deal on it for me, was the tick 2 chart, that low. For one thing, look at the high here. This is missing. I had a what did I have there? I had a down sloping upper median line lining up at one of those. Where was that? Just 1 second here. I'm trying to figure out where that lined up. Yeah, whatever. That was actually a really pretty low. Right in here. Both of those lows. Of course, one was right at the close, and the other was like just before the open, I think, or 4 in the morning. No, it was right. Yeah, right at the open. Yep. Let's see, September 1st. Was that a Monday? If that was Monday, that was one I got. Tuesday. No. That was during the trading room, though. I marked it up, talked about it, and then I took it too early and got one ticked. Typical. Only when I'm in front of people. Well, that's not true, but especially when I'm in front of people. But look at this, man. Just a perfect 5-way move up. Very, very nice. And again, it makes a lot of sense why everybody would think that it's over and it's going down, down, down from here. But out of that higher low, I was talking about looking for at this point, and you can go back and look at the times in the exports. So this is not something you can fake, obviously. I mean, that would be lying. I wouldn't do that to you to begin with, but because we had to upload them to the server rather than them actually showing up by default as they're exported, it does look suspect. But this is the RTH1 I'm talking about on the 4. Not most recent, but all. RTH1. Did you know that you could do that, by the way, now? So in this update, if you don't have the ability now, you'll be able to cycle through and filter. And I'm not going to go into all the details of all this now because it's kind of pointless to do so in such a setting. But man, is it really, really nice now. And it'll work exactly the way that you want it. A lot of times people were getting exports come in and it was messing them up. You know, they're in the middle of drawing or whatever, and then all of a sudden, boom, you've got some objects from me or Bo, and it messes up what you were doing. So now you can wait for the pop-up or just go ahead and click import. And you can get an alarm that'll go off until you move your mouse over the pop-up, which will pop up underneath your cursor if you want it to. But yeah, look at that. Just like on the road 2, only exacerbated in a good way to where you have a massive extreme churn bar right at the end. That's why I love these tick charts and the relative volume on the tick charts. It's really, I find it hard to believe that people think volume analysis is useless. I cannot relate. But then again, I did write it, so whatever. But yeah, that's it. That is your confirmation of a huge amount of demand coming in. Is it not? Why is it not? You know? I mean, my goodness. What more do you need to make it absolutely clear that you have a huge amount of demand coming in right at that spot. What could possibly be more obvious than that? Is there anything? No. So I don't get it when you tell me that you don't understand volume or it doesn't make sense and it's useless and all that. It's the most useful tool that I have to confirm these areas. So on the way back up here, I'm calling this a leading diagonal. And I think it makes sense why. This wave 4 comes back inside of wave 1. So I'm calling that a leading diagonal. And you can see that, unfortunately, not in a screenshot, but let's see. RTH1. On the 4th, I exported that at 205. 205. All right, let me import that one. So I exported it right here. And I want to say I had this as 5 and 1. So leading diagonal back up for wave 1 back up. And then I had the wave 2 down here. So let me do a backup. Can't believe we have all this. It's unbelievable. And now I'm going to import that one. RTH1 at 205. So this is what it looked like when I exported it right there at 205. Yep. So I thought it was over right there. It wasn't, in fact, over yet. But I was calling this 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for 3, right? Because in the leading diagonal, they're not ABC for 1, ABC for 3, ABC for 5. They're actual 5-wave moves. It's just that wave 4 goes back inside of wave 1, even though it's just slightly. So this is what I think it is. It may be a 1, 2, 1, 2, but if it would then go down and turn into, say, break that 4th wave low, then we'll have our wave 2 confirmed. Let's just see what's happened since it's open. Did it open, in fact, even though it's Labor Day? No, it didn't, did it? Or did it? That's the wrong chart. That's the wrong chart. Yeah. Oh. Did it break it? Oh. That's the wave 2 low right there, guys. I'm sorry. Sheesh. Man. I'm sorry. was wanting to catch that for you while we were talking. Dang it. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. See that lower median line right there? All right. Now, what is this? Is that the low? That's the low before the high. Right there. Yeah, so that is your wave 2 low. Yep. Wow. Didn't break that one, but we did break this one. This would be the 4th of the 3rd. I had a question about that today. What do you mean about the 4th of the 3rd? So it's the 4th of the 3rd of wave 1 up. So in a lot of these corrective patterns, especially in the 4th wave position, the end of it will tick out either the preceding 4th wave of one lesser degree, which would be this low, or the preceding 4th wave of 2 lesser degrees, which would be the 4th of the 3rd, which would be that low. So to put that in context and make it make sense, I hope. What nomenclature did I use? Okay. Well, let's just use this chart. So that's the preceding 4th wave of one lesser degree right here at 83. Okay, sometimes that one will be lower than, in an uptrend, lower than the preceding 4th wave of one even lesser degree. Okay, so that's 2 lesser degrees, because this one right here, that's the big degree. That's the biggest degree we're looking at. And then we're looking to find that 2. And you see how I had it? I had it below that 4th wave. I think I did. Let's just double check that. That's what I love about this. You can go back and double check it. Boom, shakalaka. Yeah, right there. So I don't usually have a whole lot of room to the right to put these, so I just kind of group them way too close together. But anyhow, yeah, out here below one of those 2 lows, which is usually about the midpoint. In this case, it is below Z1. Yeah, it's below the 618. Pretty neat, huh? I reckon. If you can make sense of what I'm saying, I don't suppose it's all that easy, is it? It gets easier with time, but that's just it. Are you wanting a quick fix? You want to pay some money and just start turning the ATM machine on? I don't know any other industry you can do that in. Can you do that if you want to be a doctor or a lawyer? Or does it take a lot of time and effort to learn the material backwards and forwards, apply it over and over and over again, do an internship, go work at a law firm, and be the, pardon my French, the bitch boy for a number of years, and then start to get the hang of it. And then you can think about making the big bucks. But, you know, despite what the marketers would have you believe, this is actually quite difficult. And, you know, as strange as I can be, uh, at least I'm not teaching you a bunch of useless drivel that's going to get you nowhere. You know, I've actually got a modicum of sorry, I'm just looking out the window. I get so distracted. Modicum of integrity, which I can't say for very many in my industry, unfortunately. I think we're an industry of used car salesmen. Um, we're in the industry of used car salesmen, many of which have been convicted of financial fraud. That's a rough one to take in, isn't it? Yeah. So it's not easy to find someone that's actually integrous and has ethics and actually believes that there is right and wrong. It's just not easy to find these days. I mean, there's people out there willing to take your retirement fund that's going to keep you and your wife alive for the remainder of your life. They'll take it from you and not think twice about it, and they'll talk you right out of it. I prefer to talk you into not buying unless you're prepared to do the work necessary to get you on the right track, because it's quite difficult. Not to dissuade you from doing it, but just so you know, there are a lot of evil people out there, and they don't mind snatching up your hard-earned cash and putting it in their own bank account. Unfortunately, which is why here we want to teach you to fish, Danny, right? It's coming, brother. It's coming. This update is going out tonight, or you guys can string me up. And then coming this week, I'll get all the rest of the single installers out tomorrow with Cedric. But coming by the end of this week are the guides that I've been promising you. So not 100%, but everything that I've done to this point, I'm just going to go ahead and release it. It's not great. I'm not the best writer, but you'll have something. And I'm going to just film nothing but short videos to cover the rest and do it rapidly. It's going to be, you know, it's going to be better than what we've got in there now, but it's going to get you by until our new guy, it's going to be working on some documentation. We'll be able to go through and edit everything and make it palatable and understandable, hopefully. Present it in such a way that actually can be retained. I can be a little bit wordy, maybe not as wordy as Corey, but I can still be quite wordy. So all that's coming out. This update's coming out first, of course. And then tomorrow's Labor Day, which means work your ass off all day long, which is what I'll be doing. And yeah, let's do gold, shall we? Because this is essentially the Nasdaq, even though it's not. I mean, let's look at the Nasdaq briefly. There's your target for wave 3 up yonder. What time is it? Oh my goodness gracious. Let's see. Oh, NT8, brother. No, NT7. NT7 is for the birds. Ancient technology. 2004. Yeah, me no likey NT7. Super slow. Can we take a break? I'm getting kind of weird, and I need to get another one of these Pellegrinos, or just some straight water, actually. So, can we take a 5-minute break? Yeah, break it up. All right, 5-minute break. I'm gonna come back. It's gonna be a long one, I reckon, but we're gonna do Nasdaq and gold at least, and preferably crude oil to top it off, because crude has done, what did we say last time? 38.50, I believe we said. Did it do that? Oh, interesting. It's weird. All right, so we'll do crude as well. I mean, hey, I get them wrong a lot, believe me. But the analysis I get right more often than not. The trades I get wrong more often than not. And yet the growth curve is still quite wonderful. It's quite wonderful. And next Sunday, we're going to go over all that because I've got my hard drives saved. They're not burned up. They're not destroyed. They're actually, they're fine. It's my motherboard. All right, I'll be back in 5 minutes. Oh, sorry, that took much too much. All right, onward and upward. There we are. Let's see. We'll do the YM real quick. So they are calling this a truncated fifth. Really? Ah, I'm not buying it. What a cool low though, huh? All right. Now then. Just doesn't look like a completed, So they're literally, well, whatever. They're smart fellers over there, or fart smellers, but I don't see how that works. Maybe I'm blind. Well, 3 is not the shortest. So technically, yeah, it's valid. But I don't like that. Nah. Nah, I much prefer the 1-2-1-2. Not that my nomenclature is correct or anything, but this is what I'm thinking. Oh, I better let Charlie in before he breaks the door down. Yeah, he can come in. Come on, Charles. All right. And then 1, 2, 3 up there, 4, 5. Seems crazy, but then again, so did saying that was the buying opportunity of a lifetime or the end of the world. It's what I said in real time. Turns out it wasn't the end of the world. It's the end of the world as we know it, according to Gates. Things will just never go back to being the same until you get my shot. You'll have to take it because we'll make you. Okay. Where'd I put my 3? I think I deleted it. Nope. Yeah, something to this effect, which is far out there. For sure. So we're looking at that as being the end of wave 3. This is where we need the whatchamacallit, the logarithmic scale. But I can't do that yet because we've got to figure out those maths. That's in the 2021 version. But yeah, we do need to be using a logarithmic scale to sort this one out. I'm thinking though that we'll have a trend line probably from like right there. One of these will end up giving us the high. Probably an upsloping median line from back here. Something in this vicinity. 34K, maybe higher. I'll leave this one on for now, as we've already had the low, so we don't need to be reminded about how beautiful it looked every day. I'd say that's about a parallel line. Yeah, it is. Okay. So, like so. And then like so. So the next area there is that one, and that seems to be right above 3,500, 30,500 or so. $3,100 maybe by the time it gets there. Yeah, I just can't buy that as being the end of wave 5. Not yet. And it's always safer to not try and find the high. But then again, it does line up well. So I am bucking the trend as far as what is considered to be normal. And if that is wave 1, let me just go ahead and do the nomenclature properly as I should here. 3 expanding triangle, 4, 5. So the fact is, this whole move up has broken norms. So it is the YM that had those 100, those series of 100s. So let's do this. Where is it? I think it's going to be here. Where is it? Not imagining it. I remember it vividly. I'll have to go back and figure out. Well, that's one for sure. So, in other words, they're all. No, these are actually in Slack. I was going to say they're all in the forum, but the ones where I'm going through these series of 100s are all in Slack, actually. But yeah, that's this one. So from there to right, so from this wave 2 low to this high, that's why we all thought that was wave 3 high for a while. Right? Because it was not quite 161.8, and yet it counted 5 up. So this was all very difficult at the time. I remember it quite vividly. And then Trump got elected right there. And then it was straight back up. And guess what? We came back almost exactly to the low right before his election. Filled every single tick, but just a few. Look at that. Let me put it on the actual continuous contract so you see the exact price. In fact, let me do this and put it on the Dow Jones itself. This ought to be interesting. It's not nearly as truncated there, is it? And it filled the gap. There is a lot of good reason for thinking that the high is in, no doubt. All right. And Trump's election was right there. Not nearly as close on the actual Dow that doesn't have all of the time decay, but we did hit the high just before his election. It's insane how much fake money it took to get us back up to that high, isn't it? Quite a lot of fake money. Currency. I'm surprised it's showing the volume data accurately. Normally the indices don't give us that good of data. The Dow actually is. It's kind of interesting. Then you've got these chunks back here. That's sometimes why I miss trade stations data. So clean. They probably mangled the tick charts though, I don't know. It's one good thing about Ninja. You've got good tick data access with IQ feed and kinetic. Hello, Charles. Meow. What is it? Good boy. Yeah. I think I'm not going to get married to my analysis, but good boy, Charles. Doesn't like it when I talk to other people and not him. Let's try something different here. Whew, that does put things into perspective there. Well, I must have an alternate, and the alternate is pretty clear. Either I'm right in saying that we're actually going to be going much higher, or I'm dead wrong and the high actually is in and it's truncated on the Dow. I'm going to do one more check on the Dow Jones Transportation Index. I don't see it. Anybody know what the ticker symbol is of that one? PCR, I believe, has something to do with gold. That might be the gold-silver ratio. I'm not sure. Let's try. That's not what I thought it was. What happened here? I'm not quite sure what that is, PCR. At any rate, the Dow Jones Transportation Index, what would it be? DJTA. Thanks, Ray. And Frank, that, yeah, it's probably the Probably the, what do you call those? ETFs. Look at that big old 2-bar pattern into the low there. Interesting churn bar at the high. No churn as of yet, but man, look at the amount of volume that came in when crude was at that all-time low. Barely missed this low here. I don't know about you, but that just does not look finished to me. Looks like it's just begun, doesn't it? Yeah, I'm not buying it. I'm not buying that the high is in. So you've got a pretty clear target there, at least for the first major high on the way up. That would have given you that one where you had that big beautiful churn bar at the high. I can't say it was big and beautiful, but it was fairly good size. A range that small, which is really not that much smaller than the preceding ranges, but a change in volume, even just a little bit from one bar to the next, depending upon the size of the range or in relation to the range of the bar, is quite loaded with information, quite valuable information. You just have to learn how to understand it, learn how to read it properly. Which is not very easy, but once you've got it, you've got it. So yeah, I'm not seeing the high where we're talking about. Not at all. I do see a very clean and clear wave 3. And I do see a very clean and clear, if that's the 4th wave low. And a perfect flat. So $200%. Do you see what wave 3 is? It's quite interesting, isn't it? Maybe there's something to this stuff. Nah. $50%. Okay, so what would we expect for wave 5? I'd say at least 100% of wave 1. Well, we've done that. Next is 161.8. So there's still plenty of room for that. And then what's the other one? 618 of 133. Those are overlapping. Kind of close. Interesting. I just want to look at this real quick. That's got to be a 1618. Boom. To the tick, almost. I didn't realize this thing played out as well as it does. That's quite lovely. A, B, C. It's a bit of an awkward overlap there. Yeah, those B waves can be pretty rough, but that's surely a flat correction there, and not an expanding triangle like the other equity indices. So this is pretty telling, I would say, that we've got quite a bit more action to the upside, purely based on this Dow Jones Transportation Index. Yes, Charlie. Good boy. I like this chart a lot. I can export it, but it's not really going anywhere. Well, it'll go to the import manager, but you'll have to have a chart to put it on. Let's see. Yeah, so I'm thinking we've got at least up to here before this one's done, which means quite a bit higher in the old stock indexes. Man, what a good looking chart that is. Get rid of this thing. That is pretty. Mm. All right, I'm gonna screenshot this one and paste her in there. Don't think that works like that, Daniel. Yeah, well, that's what I thought, but okay, there it goes. I think. Let's just see if it works. Yeah. That's pretty. Owner. I should change that. Okay. Yeah, I like that one. That's a good one. Let's look at gold. Well, let's do crude first since I have it right here. What has happened to this chart? Gosh, sorry. There we go. So I made a list of instruments. I wish I could parse this into y'all's config file, but that would take some meddling, and we don't want to do any meddling. But yeah, it'd be good if you would create a list of basically just copy the futures and then change the contracts to the continuous contracts. If you have that data, which I hope you do. Hmm. I'm just thinking here for 1 minute. This is extraordinary time to be alive right now. Next 10 years are going to be probably the most dramatic in human history. Hey, that's a good looking one. How'd you get that big, mister? Well, would you look at that? What in the world? I have never seen that before. Oh. Yeah. No, I'm sorry. That was a little test I was doing with the fibs. This is my toolbar. This is not the one that you guys are getting. Well, you're getting 6 different ones actually. You'll have this one to choose from, but the one that you'll have is already finished. This is modified. Yeah, that's I remember that high like it was yesterday. It was so picture perfect. It even had support on the midline all the way up. And it was right into one of these lows here. Yeah. Broke inside of that one and tagged that one. Just barely missed it, I think, actually. Or no, it ticked it. No, yeah, barely missed it. Yeah, that was the we were wondering if it was a fourth wave high or a B or an X or what, but I think it's pretty clear an X. Two, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for 3, 4, 5. Mm. It's so beautiful. This whole entire thing was just magnificent. Except for this in here. This was quite difficult. I got I actually shorted it and then I got ticked out on the reopen Sunday night. Whatever occurred. Oh, that was when we had that Saudi whatchamacallit IPO. Yeah, anyway, so it's pulled back inside of this low. We were talking about maybe making one more high as an ending diagonal or coming down to 38.50 and preferably ticking out that low, which it did do, and then heading up for one more high. So I don't know if we're actually going to make that final high. That's what we're going to try to figure out now. Yeah, so let us work down. Okay, we may have a little bit lower to go. This is the part that's a bit tricky when you have these rounded swing highs and lows. More often at the high than at the low will it be this rounded. Most seems to me that the vast majority of lows are more spiky in nature, a lot more volatile, higher average range, very wide ranging bars. Uh, Although in commodities you get the same thing at highs, especially in the ags. Crude is a bit different than your standard commodity, though. It seems to have its own unique characteristics. All right, I'm just trying to piece this together here. So using that extreme price is really no bueno. It's more a situation where you would use the higher low or the lowest closing price on the hourly, maybe. If I use that higher low, then the low is likely already in. And when I talk about going up and making one more high, I'm not talking about, going up to 60. I'm just talking about quite likely a throw over of that 45 area and then coming back and making a deeper retracement. So I'm thinking this is, probably wave 4 of an ending diagonal. I'm not quite sure, really. At this point, it may have moved too far for that to even be feasible. Let me do this. Let's just try this one. Let's see what this looks like. I'm going to make this a 240 or 276 minute chart. Oh, I'm going to have to reapply it now. Yeah. Okay, let's try it a different way. 276 minute. Yep. It looks kind of interesting, actually. If you're into rainbows. Nope. Just saved you a minute ago. What is going on here? Huh, that's very strange. Oh, sorry. No, I saved the volume template. Okay. There it is. All right. Sorry, guys. I'm just cleaning this up a little bit. Bet you're thinking, wow, wish I knew what all those settings meant. I eagerly want to get back to this gray. And there's our low. Yeah, I'm afraid that's it. Oh man, have I missed that one too? This is one that you'll have to hold for a number of days if you're going to try to get back to the high, but let's see. If that's 1, 2, we were talking last time about this being wave 3 and the possibility of the triangle. So running A, B, C, D, E. And then an ending diagonal up from there, which must not break that low at 54, which is not dark enough. Sorry I'm doing this right now, but I'm getting this update out tonight and it's going to happen, so bear with me. Not good enough. There's a fine line between what's too dark for the dark chart and then what's too light for the light chart. That's definitely too dark for the dark chart, but okay. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, or 4, 5. I think that's it. Yeah. I really think that the ending diagonals already happened and we just made the end of wave A down, or wave 1 down. Oof. Hopefully it's wave A down for the sake of all these people that live where I am. Yeah, look at this. I think that's it. So, right. If that's an ending diagonal for wave 5, um, kind of, kind of certain, kind of certain. I'm leaning towards being totally convinced that the ending diagonal is there. And this is ABC up for 1, ABC down for 2. This is where it gets weird. There's a couple of ways to do this, actually. That can be wave 4 low there for the triangle. This is difficult. I know. I don't want to keep saying that because it's not unattainable, but you know, I get it if you're brand new and this is a total turnoff. But this is the only way that I've been able to make a positive growth track record consistently over time. And I've tried, a couple thousand different ways. Thank goodness I was paid to do it, though. I don't think I would have done it otherwise. It gets a little depressing. That's going to be our wave 3 there. Truncated, as it were. I don't know if I can dig that or not. Let's try something else. Yeah, that's why I kept, excuse me, that's why I kept looking for one more low. Let me rethink this for a moment. So this can be wave 1. 2. 3. 4. Let me just see if this works. Doesn't look pretty, but doesn't have to look pretty. She just has to dance. That's got to be our 1. Yeah, it just doesn't. It doesn't count right otherwise. Yeah, that's wave 4, triangle low. That's 2. You know what we're gonna do? to use an RTH chart. And then we're going to do crude or gold. And that's it. Okay, so if that's the end of wave 4, it should be that 5 relates to wave 1. Okay. So we should have some decent, obvious relationship here with the 5th wave, and I'm not seeing it. Well, maybe that is wave 4. Is that 78.6? It is. That's it. That's the one. Okay, so it's a little bit different than I thought, but this makes better sense. And wave 5 is 78.6% of wave 1. Now then, if we have a 38.2 of 1 through 3, or maybe a 23.6, I don't think a 38.2 is even possible. It's too homo. 23.6. Not quite. What about from the higher low? That's quite interesting. Maybe I'm not starting back far enough. I would look and see what other people think, but it always skews my analysis. I'll tell you though, if that is 1 and that's 3, you've got your throw over slightly, albeit wave A of 5, because this is an ending diagonal. 1, 3, and 5 are ABCs and not 5-wave moves. So we're looking for converging trend lines, and these do converge way out there at 50. At 50. That's very weird. So that little leg up here is almost identical in price as the low to that high. I'd say we have a pretty significant high there. And this is no low to be bought, I don't think. Our next trade setup is going to be a short, and it's going to be hopefully a tick out of that previous swing high there. It's going to be hopefully right there Tuesday morning. And then we want to see it come back to no less than 34. Well, we want to see it come back to the fourth or the third, probably in this case. This was a little bit tricky, I thought, but that's your 1-2. And that's a triangle 4, in fact. Doesn't have to be, but it looks like it is. You could make that 1 and that 2, and that works fine. It's just a bit awkward in that third wave, but in fact, it does make wave 5 equal to wave 1, if I remember correctly. No, but it makes it 78.6 to the tick when it's a triangle. Sorry, I'm getting really into the minutia here, and this is where I always lose people in the trading room. It feels like going into all this stuff. So let's just figure out where our next trade is. How about that? Yeah. All right, I'm going to try something here. I'm going to try this shift. See what Mr. Krugel's all talking about here. Meh. Yeah, it's pretty cool. It's not connected to the right high, though. All right, stop all the shenaniganery and get on with it. So what we've got here is a low of about, 34.36. I don't really need this one per se. Let me just try these warning lines real quick. Nah, nothing doing. All right. I'm going to say that right here and now, after I do one more thing, $78.6, 61.8. Good. Yeah, that's just barely right. Okay. That works. That works. That's what had me kind of at odds with this whole thing. So, yeah, I think that's it. We've got our 5-wave move completed. We're pushing down, and that break of the midline in line with the low just after that final high and the low just before it solidifies that this is a valid area and it's in play, at least for the time being. I'll put it on the 138-minute crude oil chart as well so I can export it to you, but I think our first 5 down is done, and we're going to have a shallow wave 2. So I'm thinking this is not an A wave up. It might be. I think it's a wave 1 up, and I think we're going to have a shallow wave 2, and then you're going to see a move like you've never seen before. If this thing bottoms out in a wave 2 and we turn up into what is a third wave after a wave 1 like this, you're going to see some price action like has probably never been seen before. And then you'll start hearing peak oil, which they got to do about every 10 years or so. Stay relevant. For each generation to hear at least twice. Three times, preferably, yeah. So if we can go right back up in a nice ABC and hit this area here on Tuesday morning, 276-minute chart, then I think we'll have a decent setup there. So that I'm fairly certain that that is the low based on this channel. But it's not the low. It's not the final low. I think it's the A wave down and what is going to be a zigzag wave 2, which can go as deep as 32. But I'm thinking it's probably going to stay above. What do you bet it makes a proper 33 even? Nah, 33.33. What was that last high we had? 66.66? No, 66.60. 33.33 or 33.30. I bet you. Yeah, this one should go directly to the forum. Lounge. You see this right here? Don't click there, but click right there. And then you'll go right to the bottom. It's pretty neat, huh? The only weird thing is you have to right click to go back. And then for some reason I can't get, what do I drag them up here? Or Can't get these to engage. He might have done that on purpose. I don't know. Probably. Probably. So that no extensions could be causing the culprit for some of you guys. Once we get all this under control, then you'll probably be able to have your extensions back. So there it is. There's the screenshot. And let's see. I'm going to copy this over to here. So to do that, I've got to use my trusty copy tool. I'm going to save gold for, hi Charles, for a video. It's 8:40. I've got to eat, finish these installers, get them up before midnight. Or my hide is chapped. How do I say that politely? Man, it sure does look good. My goodness. And then I'm going to hone this down to the 2-minute. Home in on it. Okay. Wow. 4 hours. Almost. But yeah, that's it. That's that ending diagonal right there. It's pretty cool, isn't it? It's just amazing that drawing lines on a chart can somehow help you. What's amazing to me is the mind that sorted this out. Because I didn't do it. I just learned it, you know. My only contribution is the aggregation of these methods. I'm just riding on the coattails of some brilliant men. That's all. Well, in years of trial and error. And then finally nailing it. And they say what? A whole bunch of different ways to skin a cat? Sorry, Charlie. I've only found this one. I don't know of really any others that consistently make money that I've seen documented. Only in back tests. No, I don't see people's real accounts. Well, there's that one guy, Martingale King. Irreplicable, irreproducible, unless you feel like having 30-40% drawdowns in one day. Nope. Don't learn about martingaling. What we want to do is teach you how to manage your risk and just stay in the game long enough to learn this stuff. That's what we want to do. All right. So let's do it. I said it would get better, and I think you're going to see that this week. Sorry it's taken as long as it has. I'm going to stop apologizing because we've got something that is a game changer and has been for a number of people. So I don't need to apologize anymore. In fact, I think I need to charge y'all more money. I don't know. What do you think? Yay or nay? I'm just kidding. I do have to eat, though. Katie's hungry. So is Charles. All right, I'll talk to you guys next time. I'm going to be doing some exporting tomorrow. I know it's Labor Day, but I want to say the markets will probably be open till noon. I'm not sure. I should know that, but I've been tied up with charts and Bloodhound templates and Blackbird templates for days. All right, I'll talk to y'all tomorrow and expect the installers tonight and some videos, at least one installation video tonight. That's probably all I'm going to be able to manage, honestly. Y'all did like the Elliott Wave? I thought people didn't like that stuff too much, but it's all that works. Well, it's the, how do I say it? It's the road on which I travel to get to profitability. But it's not the car I drive in. How about that? I'll leave that with you. All right, I'll talk to you guys later. Have a good evening. It does sound like a good song lyric. All right, see you guys.